Captain Jason Trent, a seasoned soldier in the Galactic Defense Force, was on a routine patrol mission when disaster struck. His spacecraft, the Resolute, was on a recon flight through an asteroid field near the uncharted Quadrant X9. Jason had been monitoring unusual energy readings, his mind focused on the mission at hand. Suddenly, without warning, a massive asteroid fragment collided with his ship, sending it spiraling out of control. Alarms blared, and warning lights flashed as Jason fought to stabilize the Resolute. Despite his best efforts, the damage was too severe. The ship's engines sputtered and died, and the craft began a rapid descent towards the surface of an unknown planet. Jason braced himself for impact, knowing that survival was far from guaranteed. The crash landing was violent. Metal screamed and twisted as the Resolute plowed through dense foliage and rocky terrain, finally coming to a rest in a thick jungle. Jason was thrown against his harness, the breath knocked out of him. For a moment he lay dazed, the world spinning around him. Gradually, his senses returned, and he realized he was miraculously alive. He unbuckled himself and crawled out of the wreckage, his muscles protesting every movement. The air outside was warm and humid, filled with the rich scents of vegetation and earth. Jason stood unsteadily, taking in his surroundings. Towering trees with broad, colorful leaves stretched towards the sky, and strange, luminescent flowers dotted the landscape. The beauty of the place was mesmerizing, but Jason knew he couldn't afford to be distracted. Assessing the situation, Jason realized he was alone on an uncharted planet with no immediate way to contact his team or call for help. His comms were down, and the ship's distress beacon had been damaged in the crash. He gathered what supplies he could salvage, a medkit, some rations, and a portable survival kit, and set off to explore, hoping to find resources and possibly some form of civilization. Jason trekked through the dense jungle, his senses on high alert. The planet teemed with life, and he marveled at the strange and exotic flora and fauna. His military training kept him cautious, but he couldn't help but be awed by the vibrant beauty around him. The sunlight filtered through the canopy, casting dappled shadows on the forest floor as he made his way deeper into the unknown. After several hours of hiking, Jason stumbled upon a sight that made him stop in his tracks. In a clearing ahead, he saw a village, an astonishingly beautiful village inhabited by beings unlike any he had ever encountered. The villagers were tall, with graceful athletic builds and skin that shimmered with a soft, ethereal glow. Their eyes, large and luminous, seemed to reflect the colors of the surrounding jungle. Jason watched from the cover of the trees, unsure of how to proceed. The villagers appeared peaceful, engaged in activities that seemed to be a blend of work and play. Laughter and music filled the air, creating a serene and welcoming atmosphere. Despite his initial caution, Jason felt an inexplicable pull towards these people. He decided to take a chance and step into the open. As he approached the village, several of the beings noticed him and paused in their activities. Jason raised his hands in a gesture of peace, hoping to convey that he meant no harm. To his relief, a group of them, led by a strikingly beautiful female, approached him with curiosity rather than hostility. The leader of the group, whose name he later learned was Alicia, spoke to him in a melodious language that he did not understand. Sensing his confusion, she gestured for him to follow. They led him to a communal area in the center of the village, where they offered him food and water. Alicia, using gestures and expressions, communicated their willingness to help him. Over the next few days, Jason began to learn more about his hosts. The female aliens, who called themselves the Lyrians, were a matriarchal society. They were peaceful, valuing harmony with nature and among themselves. Despite the language barrier, Jason found ways to communicate, and the Lyrians were patient and eager to understand him. Alicia took a special interest in Jason, spending hours with him each day, teaching him their language and customs. Her intelligence and grace captivated him, and he felt an unexpected connection growing between them. The more he learned about the Lyrians, the more he admired their way of life, which contrasted sharply with the militaristic existence he had known. As he integrated into their society, Jason found himself torn. He knew his duty was to find a way back to his team and his mission, but the thought of leaving this paradise and the people who had welcomed him so warmly filled him with a sense of loss. The Lyrians had shown him a way of life that was peaceful and fulfilling, and for the first time he questioned what he truly wanted. In the heart of an uncharted world, surrounded by beauty and kindness, Captain Jason Trent faced a choice that would change his life forever. Jason's days in the Lyrian village turned into weeks, and he found himself increasingly captivated by their way of life. The Lyrians were a society built on cooperation and respect for nature, and their daily routines reflected these values. Mornings began with communal meals, where villagers gathered to share food and stories. The food, a variety of exotic fruits and grains, was unlike anything Jason had tasted, and he marveled at the Lyrians' ability to cultivate such abundance in harmony with their environment. As he spent more time with the Lyrians, Jason's understanding of their language and customs deepened. Alicia, who had taken on the role of his mentor and friend, was a patient teacher. Her gentle guidance and genuine interest in his well-being helped Jason overcome the initial language barrier. She taught him about their history, their connection to the land, and the spiritual beliefs that shaped their society. One day, as they sat by a crystal-clear stream, Alicia shared the story of the Lyrians' origins. She spoke of their ancestors who had lived in harmony with the planet for generations, and the deep bond they felt with the natural world. Jason listened, fascinated by the depth of their connection to their surroundings. It was a stark contrast to the life he had known, where technology and progress often came at the expense of the environment. "I can see why your people cherish this land so much," Jason said, his voice filled with admiration. "It's a beautiful way to live." Alicia smiled, her eyes reflecting the dappled sunlight. "We believe that true strength comes from harmony, not domination. By living in balance with nature, we find peace and fulfillment." As Jason continued to integrate into the Lyrian community, he took on various tasks to contribute to their daily life. He helped with farming, learning to cultivate the rich soil and tend to the vibrant crops. He joined hunting parties where he was taught to track and hunt game with respect and gratitude for the life they took. These experiences not only provided him with valuable skills but also deepened his connection to the Lyrians and their way of life. His relationship with Alicia grew stronger as well. They spent countless hours together, sharing stories of their respective worlds and dreams for the future. Jason found himself increasingly drawn to her, not just for her beauty, but for her wisdom, compassion, and strength. Alicia, too, seemed to feel a growing bond, her eyes often lingering on him with a mix of curiosity and affection. One evening, as the village gathered around a communal fire, Jason felt a profound sense of belonging. The Lyrians sang songs of their ancestors, their voices blending in a harmonious chorus that resonated with the surrounding forest. Alicia sat beside him, her hand resting lightly on his. The warmth of the fire and the sense of community enveloped him, and for the first time in a long while, Jason felt truly at peace. Despite the idyllic life Jason had found with the Lyrians, a shadow loomed on the horizon. The Vraxians, a rival tribe of male aliens, had long coveted the fertile lands and resources of the Lyrian village. The peaceful existence of the Lyrians was under constant threat from these aggressive invaders who believed in power and domination rather than harmony and coexistence. One afternoon, while Jason was working in the fields with Alicia, the alarm sounded. The sound of a horn echoed through the valley, signaling the approach of the Vraxians. Villagers dropped their tools and hurried to prepare for the impending conflict. Jason's military instincts kicked in, and he quickly assessed the situation. "Alicia, we need to organize the defenses," Jason said urgently. "Where are your warriors?" Alicia's face was tense with worry, but she nodded, leading him to the village's defensive line. The Lyrians, though peaceful by nature, had trained to defend themselves against the Vraxians. They armed themselves with bows, spears, and other weapons crafted from the natural resources of their land. Jason took charge, using his military training to coordinate the defense. He placed archers in strategic positions, instructed the spearmen on forming a defensive line, and set up traps along the likely paths of the Vraxian advance. The Lyrians, though inexperienced in combat compared to him, followed his orders with determination and trust. The Vraxians appeared on the ridge, their war cries echoing through the valley. They were a formidable sight, with muscular builds and fierce expressions. Armed with crude but effective weapons, they charged towards the Lyrian village with brutal intent. The battle that followed was intense and chaotic. Jason fought alongside the Lyrians, his combat skills and tactical knowledge proving invaluable. He moved with precision and agility, taking down Vraxian warriors and rallying the Lyrians whenever they faltered. Alicia fought bravely by his side, her agility and strength surprising him. Despite the chaos, they worked together seamlessly, their bond growing stronger with each passing moment. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the tide of the battle began to turn in favor of the Lyrians. Jason's leadership and the villagers' determination proved too much for the Vraxians, who eventually retreated, leaving behind their fallen comrades. The village erupted in cheers of victory, but Jason knew that this was just a temporary reprieve. Alicia approached him, her eyes filled with gratitude and admiration. "You saved us, Jason. Your courage and leadership made all the difference." Jason shook his head, humbled by her praise. "It was a team effort, Alicia. Your people fought bravely, but we need to be prepared for the possibility of another attack. The Vraxians won't give up easily." Alicia nodded, her expression resolute. "We will stand together, Jason. With you by our side, I believe we can protect our home." As the villagers tended to the wounded and reinforced their defenses, Jason felt a deep sense of responsibility and commitment. The Lyrians had become his family, and their fight was now his own. He knew that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but with Alicia and the Lyrians by his side, he was ready to face whatever came their way. Back on Earth, Captain Jason Trent's disappearance had not gone unnoticed. The Galactic Defense Force, GDF, had received his distress signal moments before his ship went down. As protocols dictated, a search and rescue mission was promptly organized. The mission was spearheaded by Captain Mark Reynolds, Jason's old friend and trusted comrade. Mark was determined to bring Jason back safely. The search team, aboard the GDF cruiser Resolute, followed the weak distress beacon to the uncharted planet where Jason had crash-landed. As they entered the planet's atmosphere, the sensors picked up signs of life and a dense, vibrant ecosystem. Mark gazed out at the lush landscape, his mind focused on finding his friend. "Prepare for landing," Mark ordered, his voice filled with resolve. "We need to find Captain Trent and bring him home." The landing was smooth, and the search team quickly disembarked, their advanced equipment scanning for any sign of Jason. They moved cautiously through the dense jungle, wary of the unknown terrain and potential threats. After several hours, they picked up traces of human DNA leading towards a village. As they approached, the village came into view, a beautiful and serene place that seemed almost otherworldly. Mark and his team were met with curious glances from the Lyrians, who had never seen humans other than Jason. The Lyrians' initial wariness gave way to recognition when they spotted Jason's familiar uniform. Alicia, noticing the commotion, hurried to meet the newcomers. She recognized the military insignia on their uniforms and realized they were looking for Jason. With a mix of apprehension and hope, she led them to where Jason was helping rebuild a section of the village damaged in the Vraxian attack. When Jason saw Mark, his heart skipped a beat. Relief and apprehension flooded him. He embraced his old friend, a mix of emotions playing across his face. "Mark, it's good to see you." Mark's eyes scanned Jason, noting his tanned skin, the relaxed demeanor, and the sense of peace that seemed to radiate from him. "Jason, we've been looking everywhere for you. Are you all right?" Jason nodded, glancing around at the village. "I'm better than all right, Mark. This place, these people, they've become my home." Mark looked around, taking in the harmonious beauty of the village and the graceful Lyrians. He saw the connection between Jason and Alicia, an unspoken bond that spoke volumes. "We need to get you back to Earth, Jason. Your skills are needed. Your family and friends are worried." Jason's face grew serious. "I understand, Mark, but things have changed. I found something here I never expected. A sense of belonging, a purpose beyond the military." The evening following the reunion with the rescue team was tense. Jason, Mark, and the other GDF soldiers sat around a fire with Alicia and the village elders, discussing the situation. The Lyrians listened quietly, their eyes reflecting concern and curiosity. Mark pressed Jason. "You have a duty to the GDF, Jason. We need you back on Earth. Your experience and leadership are invaluable." Jason sighed, feeling the weight of his old life pressing against the new one he had come to cherish. "I know, Mark. But you have to understand, I've found something here that's more than duty. These people, their way of life, it's changed me." Alicia placed a hand on Jason's arm, her touch grounding him. "Jason has become one of us. He has helped us in ways we cannot repay. We need him too." Mark looked at Alicia, seeing the sincerity in her eyes. He then turned to Jason, his voice softer. I see that, Jason. But what about your family back on Earth? Your friends? They deserve to know you're safe, at least. Jason nodded, knowing Mark was right. I'll go back with you, Mark. But just for a short time. I need to explain everything to my family and friends, and I need to request a formal leave of absence from the GDF. Alicia's eyes widened with concern. What if they don't let you return? Jason squeezed her hand reassuringly. I'll find a way, I promise. The next day, Jason prepared to leave with the rescue team. The Lyrians gathered to bid him farewell, their expressions a mixture of gratitude and sorrow. Alicia stood beside him, her eyes filled with unshed tears. Promise me you'll come back, she whispered. I promise, Jason said, his voice firm. This is my home now. I will return. As the rescue ship lifted off, Jason looked down at the village, the faces of the people he had come to love growing smaller with each passing moment. His heart ached, torn between his duty to the GDF and his new life with the Lyrians. He knew the path ahead would be challenging, but he was determined to find a way to reconcile the two worlds. Back on Earth, Jason's return was met with a mixture of relief and surprise. His family and friends were overjoyed to see him, but they quickly realized that he had changed. The old Jason, driven by duty and ambition, had found a new sense of purpose and peace. Jason met with the GDF higher-ups, explaining his situation and requesting a leave of absence. He spoke passionately about the Lyrians and their way of life, hoping to make them understand why he needed to return. To his surprise, they were more understanding than he had anticipated. We can't afford to lose you, Trent, one of the generals said, but we also recognize the importance of what you've found. We'll grant you a temporary leave, but we expect regular reports and updates. Jason agreed, feeling a weight lift off his shoulders. He knew the road ahead would be difficult, balancing his responsibilities to the GDF with his commitment to the Lyrians. But for the first time in his life, he felt a sense of clarity and purpose. As he prepared to return to the Lyrian planet, Jason thought of Alicia and the promise he had made. He knew that his heart belonged with her and the Lyrians, and he was determined to build a future where both his worlds could coexist in harmony. With a renewed sense of hope and determination, Jason boarded the ship that would take him back to the Lyrians. The journey ahead was uncertain, but he was ready to face whatever challenges came his way, knowing that he had found something worth fighting for. Jason's return to the Lyrian village was met with joy and relief. The Lyrians had feared he might never come back, and their elation was palpable as he stepped off the GDF ship. Alicia was the first to greet him, her eyes shining with happiness and a hint of tears. I told you I'd come back, Jason said, pulling her into a tight embrace. Alicia smiled, her voice filled with emotion. I never doubted you, Jason. Welcome home. The reunion was short-lived, however. The shadow of the Vraxian threat still loomed large over the village. Despite their previous defeat, the Vraxians had not given up their desire to conquer the Lyrians and claim their fertile lands. Reports of increased Vraxian activity in the surrounding areas had reached the village, and the tension was palpable. Jason immediately set to work, using his military training to strengthen the village's defenses. He organized drills, trained the Lyrians in combat tactics, and devised strategies to counter the Vraxian threat. The Lyrians, though naturally peaceful, showed remarkable resilience and determination, inspired by Jason's leadership. One evening, as Jason and Alicia walked through the village discussing their plans, they heard the distant sound of war drums. The Vraxians were coming. The village sprang into action, the Lyrians taking up their positions as they had been trained. The Vraxian warlord, a towering figure clad in crude but intimidating armor, led the charge. His forces stormed the village with brutal efficiency, their battle cries echoing through the night. Jason and the Lyrians met them head-on, the clash of weapons and the shouts of combat filling the air. The battle was fierce and chaotic. Jason moved through the fray with precision, his years of combat experience guiding his every move. He fought alongside the Lyrians, their unity and determination giving them an edge against the larger and more aggressive Vraxian forces. Alicia fought with equal ferocity, her agility and strength making her a formidable opponent. She and Jason often found themselves back-to-back, their movements synchronized as they defended their home. Despite the odds, the Lyrians held their ground, their resolve unwavering. As the battle raged on, Jason spotted the Vraxian warlord leading a group of warriors towards the village center, where many of the non-combatant Lyrians had taken refuge. With a surge of adrenaline, he broke through the enemy lines, racing to intercept them. "Stay back!" Jason shouted to the villagers, positioning himself between them and the advancing Vraxians. The warlord sneered, brandishing a massive weapon. "You think you can stop me, human?" Jason met his gaze with steely determination. "I won't let you harm these people." The two clashed in a brutal duel, their weapons ringing out with each strike. The warlord's strength was formidable, but Jason's skill and agility kept him in the fight. Finally, with a well-timed move, Jason disarmed the warlord and delivered a decisive blow, ending the threat. With their leader defeated, the remaining Vraxians began to falter. The Lyrians, seeing their enemy's resolve weaken, pressed the advantage. Slowly but surely, they drove the Vraxians back, reclaiming their village inch by inch. As dawn broke, the last of the invaders fled, leaving the Lyrians victorious. The aftermath of the battle left the village in a state of both relief and exhaustion. The Lyrians had defended their home successfully, but the cost had been high. There were injuries to tend to and losses to mourn. Jason, despite his fatigue, immediately set to work helping the wounded and organizing repairs to the village's defenses. Alicia found him tending to a wounded villager, his hands steady and reassuring. She placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "You need to rest, Jason. You've done more than enough." Jason shook his head, his expression determined. "I can't rest while there's still work to be done. These people need me." Alicia's eyes softened with admiration and love. "And we are grateful for everything you've done. But you also need to take care of yourself. Come with me." Reluctantly, Jason allowed Alicia to lead him away from the chaos. She brought him to a quiet spot by the stream, where the sounds of nature provided a soothing backdrop. They sat together, the tension of the past hours slowly melting away. "Alicia," Jason began, his voice filled with emotion, "I realized something during the battle. I've been fighting for a long time, always driven by duty and responsibility. But here, with you and your people, I found something I never knew I was missing. A sense of belonging, of purpose beyond the battlefield." Alicia took his hand, her touch gentle and comforting. "You have given us so much, Jason. Your courage, your strength, and your heart. You are part of our family now." Jason looked into her eyes, feeling a deep connection that went beyond words. "I love you, Alicia. More than anything, I want to build a life here with you. To protect this village, to be a part of this community." Tears welled in Alicia's eyes, her smile radiant. "I love you too, Jason. We will face whatever challenges come our way, together." Their bond, forged in the heat of battle and tempered by their shared experiences, was stronger than ever. They spent the evening talking about their dreams for the future, envisioning a life where Lyrians and humans could coexist in harmony. As the days passed, the village began to rebuild and heal. The Lyrians, inspired by Jason's leadership and bravery, worked together to strengthen their defenses and improve their way of life. Jason continued to train them, passing on his knowledge and skills, ensuring they would be prepared for any future threats. Alicia and Jason's relationship blossomed, their love a beacon of hope and unity for the entire village. They became a symbol of the possibilities that could arise when different worlds came together in harmony. One evening, as they watched the sunset over the jungle, Alicia turned to Jason, her eyes filled with determination. "We should reach out to the Galactic Defense Force. If we can establish formal relations, we could ensure lasting peace and cooperation between our peoples." Jason nodded, seeing the wisdom in her words. "You're right, Alicia. It's time to build bridges, not just for us, but for the future of both our worlds." With renewed purpose, Jason and Alicia began making plans to contact the GDF, hoping to forge an alliance that would protect the Lyrians and create a brighter future for all. Together, they faced the unknown, confident in their love and the strength of their bond. As the Lyrian village healed and rebuilt after the Vraxian attack, Jason and Alicia focused on the future. They knew that true safety for their people required more than just fortifications and training. It required alliances. Jason's experiences with the Galactic Defense Force, GDF, provided a unique opportunity to establish a formal relationship between Earth and the Lyrians. The Lyrian Council, led by the wise elder Seraphine, agreed to the plan. "We trust you, Jason," she said, her voice carrying the weight of years and wisdom. "Your knowledge and your heart have shown us that this alliance is possible. Go with our blessing." Jason, Alicia, and a small delegation of Lyrians prepared for the journey. The GDF ship that had brought Jason back to the planet was still on standby, ready to transport them to Earth. As they boarded the ship, the village gathered to see them off, their expressions a mix of hope and anxiety. "Remember, you carry not just our hopes but our future," Seraphine said, her gaze steady on Jason and Alicia. "We won't let you down," Jason promised, his resolve firm. The ship lifted off, and Jason watched the village recede into the distance, the lush jungle and shimmering water a stark contrast to the metallic interior of the spacecraft. The journey to Earth was filled with anticipation and preparation. Jason briefed the Lyrians on human customs, language, and the intricacies of the GDF structure. Alicia, ever the quick learner, absorbed the information with ease, her questions insightful and probing. As they approached Earth, the ship's communication systems buzzed to life. Captain Mark Reynolds appeared on the screen, his expression both stern and welcoming. "Jason, we're ready to receive you and your delegation. Welcome back." The ship docked at a secure GDF facility, and Jason led the Lyrians down the ramp. The human soldiers and officials present couldn't hide their astonishment at the sight of the tall, ethereal Lyrians. Jason introduced Alicia and the other delegates, emphasizing the peaceful intentions and the potential benefits of the alliance. Captain Reynolds stepped forward, shaking Jason's hand warmly. "It's good to see you, Jason. And welcome to Earth, Alicia. We have much to discuss." The initial meetings between the GDF and the Lyrian delegation were tense but promising. Both sides recognized the potential for mutual benefit and the importance of cooperation. However, not everyone was convinced. Some high-ranking GDF officials viewed the Lyrians with suspicion, concerned about the implications of an alliance with an unknown species. During one particularly heated meeting, General Harrington, a veteran officer with a reputation for caution, voiced his concerns. "We don't know enough about these Lyrians. How can we be sure this isn't a ruse? We've faced deception before and it cost us dearly." Jason stood, his demeanor calm but firm. "General, I understand your concerns, but I've lived among the Lyrians. I've seen their way of life, their values. They seek peace and harmony, not conflict. This alliance can strengthen both our worlds." Alicia stepped forward, her presence commanding the room's attention. "We come with open hearts and minds, seeking friendship and cooperation. Our people have much to offer, and we believe that together, we can achieve great things." Despite their compelling arguments, the division among the GDF leadership was clear. The debate continued late into the night, with both sides presenting their cases passionately. Jason and Alicia knew that winning over the skeptics was crucial. Meanwhile, word of the Lyrian delegation's presence on Earth spread, drawing the attention of various factions and interest groups. Some saw the potential for scientific and cultural exchange, while others viewed the Lyrians with fear and distrust. Demonstrations and protests erupted outside the GDF facility, adding to the tension. In the midst of this, a crisis unfolded. A rogue faction within the GDF, driven by fear and xenophobia, launched an unauthorized operation to capture the Lyrian delegation. Their goal was to detain the Lyrians and force them to reveal their perceived hidden agenda. Jason, alerted by a sympathetic officer, acted quickly. He and Alicia gathered the Lyrian delegation and prepared to defend themselves. The confrontation came to a head in the facility's main hall, where the rogue faction attempted to seize the Lyrians. "Stand down," Jason commanded, stepping between the Lyrians and the advancing soldiers. "This is not the way. We're here to build an alliance, not start a war." The leader of the rogue faction sneered. "You're blinded by their lies, Trent. We're protecting humanity." Before the situation could escalate further, Captain Reynolds and General Harrington arrived with reinforcements, diffusing the standoff. "Enough," Reynolds barked. "This is not how we conduct ourselves. Arrest these men." As the rogue soldiers were taken away, General Harrington approached Jason and Alicia. His stern expression softened slightly. "You have my apologies. Not all of us share their fear. You've shown great courage and restraint." The incident, though harrowing, became a turning point. The courage and integrity displayed by Jason and Alicia during the confrontation swayed many of the skeptics. General Harrington, once a staunch opponent, now voiced his support for the alliance. The final meetings were productive, with both sides working out the terms of cooperation and mutual aid. Scientific and cultural exchanges were planned, and protocols for joint defense initiatives were established. The alliance was officially signed in a ceremony attended by representatives from both worlds. As Jason and Alicia prepared to return to the Lyrian planet, they felt a profound sense of accomplishment and hope. The journey had been fraught with challenges, but they had succeeded in forging a bond that promised a brighter future for both their peoples. Captain Reynolds, seeing them off, shook Jason's hand. "You've done something remarkable, Jason. You've built a bridge between worlds." Jason smiled, his gaze shifting to Alicia. "We did it together, Mark. This is just the beginning." As the ship lifted off, Jason and Alicia looked forward to the future, their hearts filled with optimism. They had proven that unity and understanding could overcome fear and distrust, and they were ready to continue building a world where both humans and Lyrians could thrive in harmony. The return to the Lyrian planet was a triumphant one. The villagers greeted Jason, Alicia, and the delegation with a celebration that stretched into the night. The successful establishment of the alliance with Earth was a monumental achievement, and the sense of hope and excitement was palpable. However, amidst the joy, a new challenge emerged. Alicia had begun to experience unusual symptoms shortly after their return. At first, she dismissed them as fatigue from the intense journey and negotiations, but as days passed, the symptoms persisted and intensified. Jason grew increasingly concerned and insisted she see the village healers. After a thorough examination, the head healer, Leora, delivered astonishing news. "Alicia, you are with child." The room fell silent as everyone absorbed the information. Jason's heart swelled with a mixture of joy and apprehension. "A child? But how? We've been through so much." Leora smiled gently. "Life finds a way, Jason. This child is a symbol of the bond between our people, a true bridge between our worlds." The news spread quickly, and the village erupted in celebration once again. The pregnancy was seen as a blessing, a sign that the alliance and the future of the Lyrian people were intertwined with those of the humans. Alicia and Jason found themselves at the center of attention, their love and commitment to each other celebrated by all. As Alicia's pregnancy progressed, Jason took on a new role. He was not only a protector and leader, but also a soon-to-be father. He balanced his duties, training the villagers and fortifying their defenses while ensuring Alicia's well-being. The Lyrians in turn supported them both, their sense of community stronger than ever. Alicia's pregnancy was unique, influenced by the hybrid nature of their child. The healers monitored her closely, fascinated by the blending of human and Lyrian traits. Alicia's strength and resilience shone through, but Jason remained vigilant, his protective instincts heightened. One night, as they lay beneath the stars, Alicia took Jason's hand and placed it on her swollen belly. "Feel that? Our child is strong." Jason smiled, feeling the gentle kick. Just like their mother. Alicia's eyes shimmered with tears. "And their father? Our child will grow up in a world where unity and love are possible, thanks to you." Jason kissed her forehead, filled with a profound sense of gratitude. "Thanks to us, Alicia. We've built this together." The night was serene, the future full of promise. They had faced countless challenges, but their love and determination had carried them through. As they drifted off to sleep, they felt a sense of peace, knowing their child would be born into a world they had fought so hard to create. The day of the child's birth arrived with an air of anticipation and excitement. The entire village gathered to support Alicia and Jason, their collective energy focused on welcoming the new life. The healers prepared the birthing chamber, ensuring everything was in place for a safe delivery. Alicia's labor was intense, but she faced it with the same courage and strength that had carried her through countless battles. Jason was by her side, holding her hand and offering words of encouragement. The process was long and arduous, but finally their child was born. A beautiful baby girl with luminescent skin and bright, inquisitive eyes. The villagers cheered, their joy echoing through the jungle. Jason and Alicia gazed at their daughter with awe and love, marveling at the miracle of her existence. She was a perfect blend of their two species, a living testament to the power of unity and love. "Welcome to the world, little one," Jason whispered, his voice filled with emotion. "You are the future we've dreamed of." Alicia smiled. tears of happiness streaming down her face. She's perfect, Jason. Our hope, our legacy. The birth of their daughter, whom they named Lyra, brought a renewed sense of purpose and hope to the village. Lyra quickly became a beloved figure, her presence symbolizing the possibilities of a harmonious future. The villagers took turns caring for her, showering her with love and affection. As Lyra grew, she exhibited traits from both her human and Lyrian heritage. Her curiosity and intelligence were evident from a young age, and she quickly became the center of attention and affection in the village. Jason and Alicia nurtured her, teaching her the values of both their worlds. The alliance with Earth continued to flourish. Joint ventures in science, agriculture, and defense strengthened the bond between the two species. Human and Lyrian scientists worked together to explore the unique properties of Lyra's hybrid nature, hoping to unlock new potential for both their peoples. Jason and Alicia's leadership was instrumental in maintaining the peace and fostering cooperation. Their love story and the birth of Lyra inspired countless others, both on Earth and the Lyrian planet, to believe in the power of unity and collaboration. One evening, as they watched Lyra play with other Lyrian and human children, Alicia turned to Jason. "Look at them, Jason. They are the future we've fought for." Jason nodded, his heart full. "And they'll continue our work, building a world where all can live in harmony." Alicia leaned into him, her voice soft and full of hope. "We've created something beautiful, Jason. Together we've shown that love and unity can overcome any challenge." Jason held her close, his gaze on their daughter and the bright future she represented. "This is just the beginning, Alicia. With Lyra and the new generation, the world will only grow stronger and more united." As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the village, Jason and Alicia knew they had achieved something extraordinary. Their journey had been filled with trials and triumphs, but their love had guided them through it all. They looked forward to the future, confident that their legacy of unity, love, and hope would continue to inspire generations to come. Years passed, and the alliance between Earth and the Lyrians continued to strengthen. The joint ventures in science, agriculture, and defense yielded remarkable advancements, benefiting both species. The cooperative spirit that Jason and Alicia had fostered became the foundation for a new era of peace and prosperity. Lyra grew into a bright and curious young girl, embodying the best qualities of both her parents. Her unique heritage made her a symbol of the alliance, and she was adored by both Lyrians and humans. She had a natural ability to bridge gaps between cultures, her innocence and charm winning hearts wherever she went. One day, as Lyra played in the village square, a delegation from Earth arrived. The GDF had sent high-ranking officials and scientists to discuss the next steps in their partnership. Jason and Alicia welcomed them, eager to share the progress they had made and to discuss future collaborations. During the meeting, Dr. Elena Marks, a leading scientist from Earth, presented the findings of their joint research. "We've made significant strides in understanding the unique properties of Lyra's hybrid genetics. Her DNA holds the potential for incredible advancements in medicine and technology." Alicia listened intently, her eyes shining with pride. "Lyra is a testament to what we can achieve together, but we must ensure that her future, and the future of all children, remains bright and peaceful." General Harrington, now a staunch supporter of the alliance, nodded in agreement. "We've seen firsthand the benefits of our cooperation. It's time to take the next step and formalize our alliance with a treaty that ensures mutual protection and shared resources." Jason, his gaze steady, addressed the assembly. "This treaty is more than just a document. It's a promise to each other and to future generations. We must commit to protecting this bond and nurturing the potential it holds." The treaty was drafted and signed in a ceremony attended by representatives from both worlds. It outlined the terms of their partnership, including shared scientific research, mutual defense pacts, and cultural exchanges. The signing of the treaty was a momentous occasion, symbolizing the unity and commitment of both species. As the celebrations continued into the night, Jason and Alicia stood with Lyra, watching the fireworks light up the sky. Lyra, her eyes wide with wonder, looked up at her parents. "Will the stars always be this beautiful?" Alicia smiled, her voice soft. "Yes, my love. As long as we continue to work together and cherish our bond, the stars will always shine brightly." Jason held his family close, feeling a profound sense of accomplishment and hope. We've come so far, and there's so much more to achieve. This is just the beginning of a new chapter for both our worlds. The years that followed saw unprecedented growth and harmony between Earth and the Lyrian planet. The alliance flourished, with joint ventures leading to breakthroughs in various fields. New technologies inspired by Lyra's unique genetics revolutionized medicine, energy, and environmental sustainability. Lyra, now a young woman, took on a leadership role, advocating for continued unity and cooperation. Her charm, intelligence, and innate ability to connect with others made her a natural leader. She traveled between Earth and the Lyrian planet, spreading the message of peace and collaboration. One evening, as Jason and Alicia walked through the village, they reflected on their journey. The village had grown, incorporating both Lyrian and human elements, and was now a thriving hub of activity and innovation. "Look at what we've built," Jason said, his voice filled with pride. "It's more than I ever imagined." Alicia nodded, her eyes filled with warmth. "It's a testament to our love and determination. We've shown that unity and understanding can create something beautiful." As they approached their home, Lyra joined them, her face radiant with excitement. "I've just received word from the Earth Council. They've approved the establishment of a new joint research facility focused on interspecies education and innovation." Jason's eyes sparkled with pride. "That's wonderful news, Lyra. Your work is making a real difference." Lyra smiled, her gaze steady. "It's all thanks to you and Mom. You showed me what was possible, and now it's my turn to continue your legacy." The family sat together, watching the sunset over the horizon. The sky was a canvas of vibrant colors, a symbol of the bright future that lay ahead. As they sat in silence, the weight of their journey and the promise of the future filled their hearts with a profound sense of fulfillment. Jason looked at Alicia and Lyra, his voice soft but resolute. "We've faced many challenges, but our love and unity have carried us through. The future is bright, and as long as we continue to work together, there's nothing we can't achieve." Alicia took his hand, her smile radiant. "Together, we've created a legacy of peace and hope, and that legacy will continue to grow, touching countless lives." Lyra, her eyes reflecting the strength and wisdom of her parents, nodded. "We'll build a world where love and unity are the foundations of our society, and we'll continue to reach for the stars, guided by the light of our shared dreams." As the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, Jason, Alicia, and Lyra sat together, their hearts full of hope and determination. They had created something extraordinary, and the future was filled with endless possibilities. With their love and unity as their guide, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, confident in the strength of their bond and the promise of a brighter tomorrow.